Hi viewers, welcome back. My name is Adeola Fayehun, and right now we're joined by the newly elected governor of Plateau State, His Excellency Governor Simon Bako Lalong. Governor Lalong, welcome to SaharaTV.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. So first of all, sincere condolences regarding the recent Boko Haram attack in Plateau State. And we've been wondering if you've had anything from Mr. President about this attack, and also some initiatives that you yourselves have put in place to ensure safety of lives and properties in Plateau State.
Okay. Thank you very much. It's quite unfortunate. We were already witnessing some witnessing peace in the state immediately after inauguration, and I think there were a lot of response. We were doing peace rallies, and people were getting very happy that yes, peace has returned to Plateau when that unfortunate incident came. That very day, I had to call Mr. President. And we are very happy with the response given, because there was swift reaction even from the security and even volunteers. So at the end of the day, I was there on site myself, and I visited the patients, all the injured patients in the hospital. So I would say that the president responded very well.
I see. And were you able to put any initiatives in place to prevent further occurrence of this?
Exactly. My visit there was also to, first of all, calm nerves, because there were going to be reprisal attacks. Some were hoodlums who were trying to take advantage of it to make it look like a religious crisis, burning of churches because a box was involved. So my visit to that place calmed nerves. I had to appeal to them, and I appealed to religious leaders. And then the peace committee also came in immediately. So as I'm talking now, since that time to that, the peace committee are working everywhere. Religious leaders are up and doing.
I see.
Hello?
Okay. I'm also wondering, in terms of making sure that Boko Haram doesn't strike any longer in Plateau State, in terms of security, enforcement, do you have any of this in place?
Yes, we are introducing community policing.
Okay.
And I think the neighborhood watch, because you never know who is the Boko Haram until when there is explosion. So we're emphasizing on neighborhood watching and also community policing.
Okay. Good.
And one of the things we brought in the state was the banning of these motorcycles. You know, most of the time they use motorcycles. You take motorcycle, run, they detonate the bombs, and then you see them, they will escape easily. So we ban the use of motorcycles within the city, and we're enforcing that very well.
I see.
So I think that's one thing that we keep Boko Haram away.
And speaking of which, Plateau State is not only like a flashpoint for Boko Haram attacks, but also religious tensions, ethnic tensions, as well as the Hausa Fulani cattle rearers and farmers. We're wondering if you've mapped out any lasting solutions to these problems.
Well, like I said, we are already concentrating on the cattle rustling and the farm grazing destruction when the Boko Haram issue came in. In fact, for about 2 years now, we've not had any case of bomb blasts in the state. So because of that, we believe that peace was returning. But what we had was a few cases of killings, of selected killings here and there because of cattle rustling or destruction to farmlands. So I had involved with the help of the peace committees, various peace committees and NGOs, on that meeting. We started very well. With the Fulanis, we came back to the natives. And we are preparing a joint meeting, and then we'll all collectively see how we can cope the cattle rustling when the bomb blast came. And we now shifted our focus a little bit to coping that one, to taking care of that one. So we've gone back again to the issues of cattle rustling.
I see. And let's talk a little bit about money. I know that when you assumed office, you said that you inherited 104 billion naira debt and that you only met 93 million naira cash. How is the financial health of Plateau State right now? And also when you took over?
If not, it was very bad, very bad. In fact, it was even more than the 104 billion. The 104 billion was what was written in the handing over note. But what we saw after that was more than that, was more than 104 billion. We're still working on that because I set up a transition committee to ascertain those facts. And they are coming out with a report by next week. And then we had our challenge of payment of salaries, outstanding arrears of salaries. In some cases, 7 months, in some cases, 5 months. So we did our best, tried to borrow money to start paying. Some people were paid 3 months, some 2 months. But with the intervention of Mr. President a week ago, things are getting better, more better.
I'm
because
glad
we now have opportunity. Hello?
I'm glad that you brought that up because that was going to be my next question. I know that Mr. President has released...
No, they are better now. We have confidence that now we'll be able to settle all areas of salaries.
I see.
And then we'll focus security and our projects.
So the 804 billion naira released by Mr. President, you're saying that your share will be enough to put things in order in terms of the finances of Plateau State?
Well, the effort that is given to us by Mr. President will be able to go a long way. But that is not to say that we always depend on Mr. President. We are also doing our best. Like we always say, Plateau was a home of peace and tourism. What did they Plateau to turn Plateau to a home of peace and tourism? We are wooing investors here and there. So when we have investors, salary will not be a problem in the state. But for now, there is good assurance from what the president has brought out as well that we will be able to pay arrears of salaries. And we will not have problems, again, keeping any month in arrears for salaries.
And, you know, while we're still talking about money, I'm wondering what you are doing to cut the cost of governance, because I know that some of the states that couldn't pay their workers' salaries because of the cost of government. So exactly what are you doing to cut the cost of governance? For example, how much will you be getting as your security vote?
Well, it's not about security votes. It's all about the whole system. So I set up a transition committee that would advise me. Like I said, the transition committee hopefully have concluded, and by next week we'll present a report. From that report, we'll be able to see what we do, whether to cut costs, whether to reduce, we talk about reduction in the workforce, whether to diversify. By diversification, mean that when you open up more windows, people may even want to leave the civil service to go and work elsewhere. So many things, because our people are still on the street, so many youths on the street unemployed. So we'll see how we can battle with such issues.
I see. So, but why don't you want to tell us about your security vote?
The security vote is classified. It's usually classified. It's for security situation. You don't bring out, even in votes, you don't put it in a budget. They are all classified. Security votes are classified in all the states, and even with Mr. President.
Okay, and I'm glad that you mentioned budget, because I was looking at the 2015 appropriation bill for Plateau State, and I noticed that the budget is estimated at 215 billion naira, but of this, only 119 billion is for capital expenditure. Do you mind telling us like how you will cut down costs regarding the budget?
Well, that is the budget I inherited, and the budget was already before I came into office. So I'm also looking at it. I've set up an economic team to look at the budget, to make preparation for whether we will have a supplementary budget, or we will now look at issues of cutting down or reducing or modifying the budget, because we came in and the budget was already on. House of Assembly prepared the budget for passage. So what I did was to represent the budget to be passed.
So should we expect like a lower budget, or
Very well, very well.
Okay.
Very well. That's what we're preparing right now, because when we came in, we inaugurated, the budget was already out, and we were already getting out of time. So we had to put the budget for passage. So we'll put in an economic team that will look into it, prepare and advise us.
Do you mind saying anything about the dissolution of local government area chairman? The PDP has been criticizing this move.
The issue of dissolution of local government?
Yeah.
Well, the law gives powers to the law by the House of Assembly gives powers to the governor to dissolve local government. So, and I didn't say I should even give any reason for dissolution. It has been done before. And when I inherited, I initially told the local government chairman I was not going to dissolve them. But within a short while, I saw that there was lack of confidence and then breach of trust between us and the local government. I saw that they were not really going to cooperate. And first of all, when we mentioned the issue that we are going to fight corruption and we are going to investigate, it's that it's now transition committees were beginning to have we were beginning to have challenges in government, and also with the preliminary reports given by the transition committee, I realized that there were monumental corruptions at the local government. And so when they saw that, I saw them running up and down for litigations here and there. And because of that, that was what I saw, breach of confidence and no longer trust. My priority is to ensure sanity in the whole state. And if they were afraid of investigation, well, that's what I did. I used the law on local government to now dissolve the councils.
Okay, so I'm starting to round up, but before I move away from money altogether, I just want to get this straight, that the budget of 215 billion that had been in place before you resumed office, we should expect you to cut it down. At the end of the day, the budget for Plateau State will not be up to 215 billion naira. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm setting up. I told you that I've set up a committee to look at it.
Okay.
We had to pass it because we were going to be out of time within the law. So the budget is passed. We are working with even the House of Assembly to see areas where we will conform to our present conditions and also see a reality in the implementation of the budget.
I see. So right now, Your Excellency, a lot of Nigerians are complaining about the change that was promised to Nigerians at the federal level, Mr. President, and the pace at which he's moving. I'm sure you're aware that many people are now calling Mr. Buhari Baba go slow. So first of all, I'm wondering your reaction to this, and also what reaction has been in Plateau State regarding your tenure so far, and do you feel like you are fulfilling your promises to the people of Plateau State?
I think there's serious misunderstanding on the personality of Mr. President. This is a president who inherited, he said it several times, that he inherited a lot of problems. Everybody knows that things were so bad in this country when Mr. President came in. That is the same with the states. So when Mr. President came in, he's doing his best. With the transition, he came out after the transition committee report to say that things were bad. You are also aware that Mr. President came in and he has already been saying that NNPC, the NNPC, the oil company, was running the government, and so monumental corruption at that level. So Mr. President will take time to correct the situation. What he has done as bailout for the state is a step in the right direction. He's looking at the challenge of insecurity, the Chibok girls, everywhere. But I don't think Mr. President is slow. He's taking his time in the face of a very serious challenge. So what he has done so far is, we'll always commend Mr. President. It's the same thing in the States. We mentioned it, that if not for the bailout, by now, we would not have been talking about projects in Plateau State because of a lot of things. We inherit 104 billion, and then you have only 93 million to work with. How will you start?
And what has been what has been the review so far with your government?
With my government?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing very well. We paid salaries, and like I said, even before the intervention came, we were paying salaries. So civil servants were returning to work. They had returned to work after about 4 or 5 months of strike. Some of them even a year of strike have returned to work. That's the confidence. So when we paid salaries, they returned to work. The state is now picking up.
Hello?
Hello?
Okay. So I've pretty much asked all the questions that I have, but I'm just wondering, apart from the money that you inherited, the debt that you inherited, was there any other surprise that you met when you resumed office from the previous administration?
When I resumed office,
sorry, can you please repeat that? I didn't hear that.
Okay. When I resumed office, first I was surprised. Like I said, this state was so much indebted. And secondly, there were so many projects left uncompleted. So many projects left uncompleted. And so we were wondering how to complete some of these projects. But many of the projects are very important, and so it will be difficult to leave those projects. And then part of it, too, employments were being made in the state. Instead of reducing the gap, the past government were loading and reloading more employment, about 7,000 on the next government. So that was a very, very serious surprise.
I'm not sure that I understand that. You are saying about 7,000 people were working for the previous administration?
No, we're added. We're employed within the period of the transition, within the period of the...
Okay.
Yes. So that was to put more problems on the next regime, on the next government. So we're battling to sort them out. We're battling to sort them out now.
I see. All right. Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for granting us this interview. We appreciate your time.
Thank you very much. I'm grateful. Thank you.
All right, viewers, that has been the newly elected governor of Plateau State, Governor Simon Bako Lalong. We hope you've enjoyed the interview. Stay tuned. We have much more to come.